I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're diving into a shocking true crime memoir that exposes the brutal realities of global corruption, survival, and the dark world of trafficking. We're talking about a powerful book. It is called Memoirs of a Human Trafficker, My Journey, a Travel Guide. It is written by a terrific author. His name is Peter Storrer, and he takes readers inside war zones, prison cells, and political power structures with unfiltered honesty and cinematic detail. This explosive real-life account is gripping readers around the globe with its raw storytelling, unforgettable characters, and deeply human message of resilience. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Peter, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Okay. Hey, nice to be on.
Great to have you on the show. What inspired you to share this extraordinary and dangerous chapter of your life?
Well, since it happened, people, mostly siblings and relatives, would be like, "You should write a book. You should write a book." Because I've got kind of an experienced life, we'll say, and so I started just jotting things down and putting things down a long time ago, and because of the situation surrounding the book, I wanted a lot of time to pass before I really put it into publish because, there's people out there that might still be a bit upset with me. I'm not sure. So I finally got it all together, and then had my sister-in-law, who's a school teacher. I had her edit it for me, and then I sent it off to Atticus Publishing and got it into print.
The rest is history. You're here with us now, and the book is out there available for sale, which is wonderful because it is an extraordinary story. When you look back, do you see one defining moment that pushed you into the world of trafficking?
Honestly, because I was kind of duped into it.
Mm-hmm.
Having gone to flight school and then following a buddy over to Southeast Asia for a while, when they started talking to me about flying an airplane, that's all I could think about. I didn't realize, and also I speak both Thai and Cambodian languages, and in those languages, when they refer to let's say young girls, they'll refer to them, oh, niece, oh, kamui and stuff like that, or lan in Thai. That's how this guy was speaking to me in English. I'm thinking he was just referring to young girls, but I was thinking they were his nieces, the way he talked.
Gotcha. So you were kind of duped into it, and your journey spans Cambodia, Thailand, South America. How did these environments shape the story? Tell us the impact they have on the story.
Well, the first part, I'd say Cambodia, how it started with the story, that's kind of where everything began. Because my friend, I had served a mission for my church with Cambodian people, and then my buddy was like, "Yeah, let's go over there." And he was kind of, wanting to go, and just wanted to have experiences like that. And so I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So we went over there to Cambodia. We were going to open up an internet cafe, and we weren't there very long, just a few weeks or so, when all hell broke loose, and so we had to get out of there, and he, I don't mean to put Derek down, but he was kind of a coward. I don't know. He was so eager to get out of there and run, and just, and the minute we crossed into Thailand, he was heading back to Bangkok and getting himself a flight out of there, coming back home. I just don't think he was prepared, and for, the experiences, having a military coup would scare anybody, but I don't know. For me, I wasn't done yet, but he was.
The most terrifying encounter for you that you detail in the book, or were there other episodes that were similarly frightening?
Probably the most frightening time in the whole book is towards the end, where I get arrested in Guyana. Because I was sitting there at the airplane, and I was just kind of, because the plane, I knew I was in a third world country and whatnot. I hit the power switches, everything lit up, the gyros I could hear spinning up and stuff like that. But I had told them I needed sectional charts. Those are aviation maps. give your elevations, that you have to be a certain height over to cross over, like, you don't want to cross a 12,000 foot mountain at 10,000 feet, obviously. And I had nothing like that. I think they were road maps. I'm not 100% sure, but I was sitting there looking at those puzzled and figuring it out. And then I didn't have any, I told them that I was going to need radio communications. I needed, where I could communicate, when I got in the air, like with, Georgetown International or whatever tower I needed to talk to. And I wasn't given anything like that. There was a radio frequency programmed into the radio when I lit everything up. And I'm not sure, was that Georgetown? I don't know. I didn't have a headset on or anything to listen, so I didn't know. And then when the Land Rover showed up with all the black clad cops, they were all like carrying like little machine guns and stuff, like 9mm, and that's where I got nervous because they were like pointing them at us, pointing them at me. So that's what kind of freaked me out.
I think that would freak anybody out because you never know what the outcome of that is going to be.
Yeah.
Are there misconceptions that people have about human trafficking that your book corrects?
I think in a way, people are thinking that they're loading, these young, and honestly, these girls could have been my age, they could have been older. I'm not sure, but we think they're loading them onto cargo containers and shipping them around the world. But I think they were using me as a kind of just to see if it was possible to do flying, because like I don't really mention it in the book, but the first thing they were talking about, it was like flying to Florida, and I was like, yeah, not in the planes I fly, pal. I can't get from to Florida. That's like a few thousand miles of open sea that I got to cross. And so then they started talking, like neighboring countries like Venezuela and stuff like that. Yeah. But so I think they were using me kind of as like, if it worked, if I were to get them, they'd probably give me more jobs and I would have still been oblivious to what I was doing. Or not, because, back then they didn't really talk about human trafficking. Like it wasn't in the media over here. No one talked about it. So I didn't really understand what was happening, Yeah.
Did you ever feel there was a way out, or were you trapped by circumstances beyond your control?
Once I got there in Guyana, the only way out was through their legal system, which turned out was pretty corrupt. I had no idea. All it is over in these third world countries, you just pay someone, they'll let you go. Yeah. And I didn't, over here, you try paying off a cop, what do? They arrest you. Right. So it was complete, because when I got the one guy, it's funny, his name was Sharif, or spelt sheriff, and he was a cop. I'm like, that's an ideal name for a cop, Yeah. But when I left the court after I had paid off the judge and got in his car, he invited me into his car, and then they drove me over to the river where I got on the barge to cross over towards Georgetown. And he was like saying, "Where's my money?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Where's your money?" And that's when it dawned on me after with the judge and everything. I was like, I could have paid this guy at the airplane and he'd have let me go. And he's like, "Everyone's getting paid but me." And I'm like, "I guess I'm broke now. I have like $80 in Thai baht. I have nothing." So
amazing. How much time did you spend in prison, and how did it impact your worldview and ultimately your survival?
I was in prison for about 19, 20 days. Mm-hmm. And then I got out on basically like a bond type thing. But I was still in country for almost another, 3 weeks or so. And it kind of, not really having a comparison of experience here in the United States, but I imagine jail here, because there it's like looking at an old Western, They had a padlock on the door, and, and it was a big metal door. And then there was no sanitation. I mean, there was something that was kind of like a cement toilet, but it was it'd be like like an outhouse, one of those that you see those porta potties you see at work sites, construction sites and stuff, but it had never been cleaned or hadn't been cleaned in weeks, and it was just full and disgusting and it smelled bad. And there was dried stuff around me. And see, when I got first in the cell, it was dark. I didn't even know. They handed me a piece of cardboard to sit on. And then I just thought I was kind of playing in dirt and sand on the floor. I wasn't even quite sure if there was concrete there yet, until everything got daylight. And then I realized, and it kind of really grossed me out.
In a long couple of weeks living
Yep.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Was there a moment or a time when you felt you might not get out of this alive?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause over here you get a phone call.
Yeah.
Over there I got nothing, you
Right.
know? And and I know like there was a Chinese guy, Mr. Tsao. He seemed I don't know if he was really upset with me, but I know he was upset about the guys in Thailand, how they, he because he felt like he'd been ripped off. And and then and like there was times where I'd see other prisoners brought in, and the guards there at the jail, they'd have like, it looked like a piece of coaxial cable, and it was all frayed at the end, like something you use for your cable TV, but they'd frayed all the wiring, and they'd be all scraped up and cut up where they'd whipped them with it. And I wasn't sure when my day was coming, when they were going to beat
Right.
me. But I think I had two protectors. One, I was a foreigner, I was a U.S. citizen, and two, I think Mr. Tsao, even though I was in there, and they kind of, I think I kind of blame him. I think it was a full setup for me to get caught, because who told the cops that we were there, for the airplane or anything? I think he kind of kept me protected, because I know they were bringing food, because the Chinese girls were being fed, but I wasn't. And then one day, like, what happened is I had this attorney guy came in, goes, "Hey, where's my American citizen?" His name was Mr. Tripp or Mr. Trim or something like that. He's a big old tall dude, and he had actually been educated in the United States, and he starts talking to me and stuff like that, and he goes, "You being fed?" And I'm like, "No, because over there you don't get fed. Like, other people were in cell with me, they had no family to feed them, and so you don't really get fed except for some, like, these baguettes they give you in the morning that were all stale and whatever." And the water I thought was tea, because it was always hot and it was brown, but it tasted like dirt. So I think it was just dirty water they boiled, you
Oh,
know.
good
And
God.
so yeah, so all I know is after Mr. Trim came in, then I started getting my food. But I did see at one time one of the guards, he looked right at me when they brought all the food and they gave it to the Chinese girl, and he dug his fingers in, ate it, and then he took it with him back into the room, into his office or whatever. And I'm like, so I don't get anything, you know? And
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
yeah.
Have you envisioned your story as a film?
I have, and everyone tells me, man, this would make a great movie. One of my friends from high school, she read my book and then contacted me and said, "Oh yeah, your book's awesome. They should make a movie." And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be kind of cool." I mean,
Yeah,
I wouldn't say no to that, but
exactly. I think it'd be a great film. I mean, I think it would shine light on a part of life that many people don't know about. They don't realize the international aspects of this all. And even your time getting arrested and time in prison is pretty fascinating. It really
oh,
is. That's the case when reading the book, and that's the case when talking to you as well. What do you hope readers take away from your book?
I'm sorry.
What do you hope readers take away from your book? What do they hope they understand about themselves, life, circumstances, choices, survival? What do you hope they take away from your book?
Well, I hope they realize that I think this world of human trafficking isn't as complex as a lot of people might think it is. It's real. They just grab some kid that they meet, that because I think these Chinese guys, like Mr. Colin, Mr. Glenn, they were laundering money through Thailand, and they're like all mafia or something. And what's funny is you watch movies and it shows like these Chinese triad mafia guys. They're all like kung fu experts. Not in my experience. They were just a bunch of fat men that had bad teeth that smoked too much. They were chain smokers. Just one cigarette after the other.
Funny.
Um,
I think we're going
but
to need Quentin Tarantino to write the screenplay and direct the movie because I think you bring elements of humor into this
right.
but with your descriptions of these guys, and I think that's something Quentin Tarantino would do very, very well. So, Quentin, if you're listening, here's a book that's ready to go. It's
There we
awesome.
go.
It's an amazing story. The name of the
Yeah.
book is Memoirs of a Human Trafficker, My Journey, a Travel Guide. It is a harrowing true crime memoir that takes readers where few dare to go. Peter, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks a lot for having me.
I appreciate your time, your insight, your candor, and the wonderful work on this book, as well as this interview. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.